Last time on Who Knows God audiobook.
The instability of the cloth forced her to search for a platform to write on. She turned around and grabbed a copy of the Old Testament off of the desk and slipped it under the bottom of the shirt. In an elaborate penmanship, she transcribed across the front. Honeywell Urban Outfitters, established 2007. She stood back and looked at her creation, and she was pleased. And the signature design for Honeywell Urban Outfitters was manifested through the lobby window, complimenting her golden tone. I mean, what were you thinking about doing? She asked. I don't know, like that nutcracker shit. Yup, Amanda quickly recalled as she passed the blunt to Rosie and exchanged places with her in the door. I been told Gary we could get money selling liquor in the hood. He was like, nah, he'd rather go out there and play hardball and risk it all. Yeah, but sister, you know where the liquor store is. You can go buy your own blender and count your own money. You don't need him. Yeah, Hollis, but everybody needs help. Then come see me. Fuck that. Let's get together. I'll help you develop whatever plans you got in your head. I'm in the business of getting shit done. Jason was tickled with laughter. He sat back in his seat and folded his arms. All right now, if you feeling froggy, go on and take a leap. Hollis ran at him and punched him in his back. Come on. Jason met her on her feet and flashed his fist. Hollis, you better sit your ass down. You gonna get dropped, I'm telling you. He reached behind him and squeezed his back muscle. Ah, that shit hurt. She figured it to be the perfect time to charge at him while his guard was down. She bolted forth like a woman going mad. Jason planted firmly at the floor as if prepared to meet her head on. As she came rushing in, he took a step sharply to the side. Hollis crashed violently into the wall unit, knocking several shelves down and its contents before falling down herself. Jason looked down at her. Allah loves not the aggressor. You remember that, little dude. Barack ain't the answer. God is the answer. Black people been running from here and there for too damn long. Didn't we get up here running from the oppression of the South in the first place? We gotta fight wherever we are. Lightly or heavily armed, we gotta fight. Fight who? It is what it is. Economics. It's... Amanda snapped her fingers trying to find the words of her choice. What's that word? Profitable? Yeah, profitable. It's profitable to push us out. So that's what they do. They want the land, and they gonna come get it until our black asses take a serious stand and push back for what's fair. You live on God's green earth, not some fucking man's. Unit 4, Chapter 1. You know they calling me the Black Kate Moss out here. Gwinn Sessoms Jordan. Date, June 24th, 2008. What the fuck you doing? Gwinn sucked her teeth and rolled her head away from her father, who she hadn't seen since her birthday last year. She didn't even try to hide the alcoholic beverage in her hand. What you said? Gwinn asked Taisha, who was sitting in the passenger seat of Shaniqua's car, and attempted to dismiss her father, who was approaching from the parking lot. You know your pop's behind you? Tanisha asked. Whatever. Jason seized Gwinn by her wrist and spun her around. Yo, what you doing? He asked. Can you leave me alone, mister? Gwinn yelled as she snatched her arm back. Thank you. Gwinn shook her head as she awoke from her alcohol-infused coma and dreamed to see Diana and Aisha from 115th Street looking at her. She thought she heard their voices conflicting with the voices in her head. Somebody's sleeping on the job, Aisha said. Gwinn quickly tried to gather herself as she stood to her feet. Uh-oh, that's blows, Aisha said, as she counted up the cash that Candace handed her on the opposite side of the terrace. Aisha was blued up, wearing a pair of number 8 Jordans and an airbrush tank top that read Jessica said bitch across the front and Jefferson Projects on the back. How many in? Diane asked as she approached Gwinn. She wiped her face and cleared her throat. 9 in for the day, she said. How's she gonna know? She probably been asleep the whole shift. Nah, I just finished speaking to Miss Shelley. I couldn't have been asleep that long. 9 in, 9 out. Shut the fuck up. Aisha put Gwyn back in her place for correcting her superior. She approached Gwyn and began staring her down, trying to intimidate her. A sharp knock on the window dividing the terrace from the hallway demanded the focus of all four ladies. Gwyn waved. Hi, Miss Drummond. Diane and Candace waved. Aisha looked in the opposite direction through the plastic coating of the fence onto 112th Street. Am I dismissed? Gwyn asked. Yeah, youngin'. Get your ass home before your moms come out here looking for you. Aisha grilled Gwyn once again as she passed her to get to the terrace door. Yo, Diane, don't she got blows? Oh, yeah, she confirmed, to Gwen's dismay, just as she reached for the knob. Gwen wished that she could be anybody but herself for the next few minutes. Her heartbeats raced as she tightened her stomach and turned her face to music. Come on, bitch, you know what it is, Aisha said to Gwen, then turned to Candace. Yo, get the fuck out of here. Shop closed for the night. Aisha made her way to the B staircase, looking at Gwen like she was something to eat. Step into my office, she joked as she pushed open the door. Gwen followed her up the stairs. Diane trotted up behind Gwen. Aisha's sky blue bandana bounced in her back pockets as she scaled the steps. Gwen made sure to walk quickly as to avoid giving Diane another reason to hit her. She focused on the chewing gum in her mouth as a means to help her remain calm, a tip that box cutter Keisha gave her after a 2-hour session of blows in Lincoln projects. Aisha turned around as she reached the 10th floor landing. Spread your fucking arms. Gwen held her breath and extended each of her arms to either side. Aisha wasted no time welling into her stomach. Fuck you doing sleeping on your shift? She asked rhetorically. Gwen folded in agony. She tried to answer but simply couldn't catch her breath. Diane kicked her in the hip, dropping her to the ground. Gwen covered up as she hit the staircase floor. The lingering pain from the initial 2 blows made all the stomping that the big sisters were engaged in intolerable. She waited the beating out in a protective fetal position, mindful to pretend to be more hurt than she actually was, thankful that it wasn't Amanda and Jalique were giving her blows. 8:59 p.m. the same night. When Gwen walked into her apartment, her mother was in the kitchen preparing Gwen's lunch for tomorrow. She kissed Bernadette on the cheek before she put the deadbolt and chain on the front door. How was your day at camp? It was okay. We had crazy fun today, Gwen answered her mom. I told you you'd end up liking it after all that fussing you did. The top of her blouse was open, and so was the brown leather belt in her pants. Bernadette sealed the sandwiches she made in a large Ziploc bag, then cut off the boiling water on the stove and removed the yellow #1 mom mug from the cabinet. Yeah, I guess. It's not so bad. Well, I'm gonna go take a bath. I fell today while playing kickball, and I feel a little sore. All right, well, I'm gonna see you in the morning. I'm gonna go try to steal me a good night's sleep. Okay, Ma, good night. The next morning, Gwen woke up before a preset alarm went off. She rolled over in her bed to check the digital readout on the television set. 8:03 a.m. She closed her eyes and listened carefully to the apartment to see if her mother had left for work. Somewhere between listening and slumber, she segued into a daydream about all the things she wanted to do with Justin on the bus to Disney Park next weekend. When she opened her eyes, she looked back at the alarm clock. 8:11 a.m. She got up and opened the room door. Good morning. Bernadette was in the bathroom, applying a coat of blush in the mirror. I left your breakfast in the microwave. Don't be late for your bus to camp, she said. I won't, Gwen said before making her way to the living room. She snuck open the glass door on an entertainment center on the wall, turned on the stereo, and forwarded her 50-cent CD to the track number 19 and pressed pause. Okay, Gwen, be good. I love you. Talk to you later. All right, bye, Ma. Have a nice day. You too, Bernadette said before she shut the front door. Before blasting her new morning song, Gwen gave her mom what she assumed would be enough time for her to return for anything she may have forgotten by brushing her teeth and running water for a shower. If she got caught listening to 50 Cent again, it was certain punishment. but she was in love with the muscle-bound Queen's MC. She rinsed her mouth out and made her way back to the living room. She pressed play and turned the volume all the way up. God gave me style, God gave me grace. She sang along with her favorite rapper as she laid a pair of new Nautica sweatpants and Moschino t-shirt across the bed, along with her 95 Air Max shoebox. God put a smile on my face. Gwinn showered and stepped out of the building fresh with uptown splendor. She knew she was going to be the center of attention wherever she chose to go today. She popped a stick of chewing gum in her mouth and went forth. Sister, what's poppin'? Gwinn dabbed Candace and Tyrese from building 1690, then slouched down next to them on the benches. The projects were humid. It was going to be over 90 degrees today, and the slow, mid-80-degree morning was somewhat indicative of a day full of drama to come. We about to go to Bar Kim house, Candace said as she looked through the bag of goodies that Dollar, a neighborhood hustler, had for sale. Some East River sisters supposed to be there. Bar Kim got some new Sub-Zero DVDs and shit. Justin's supposed to be there too. Thais threw in her 2 cents and tapped Candace on her leg to watch Gwen's reaction. Gwen gave them what they were looking for as she blushed, allowing herself to act her age for a change. She tried to turn her face away. Look at this punk bitch blushing and shit, Thais mocked. Candace pulled out $2 to pay Dollar for an iPod charger and a bottle of cocoa butter. Y'all ready to get out of here? She asked. Since she was a toddler, Gwen loved strolling down 3rd Avenue. As they crossed the intersection of 103rd and 3rd, she became lost in the traffic and the goods and services around her. The African brothers were selling sunglasses and bootleg watches on their vending table. An older Spanish brother was slinging ice-cold bottles of water for $1. Icy vendors, dope boys, and department stores. 3rd Avenue was manifest proof that East Harlem was the best. The reason Gwen represented a set so vehemently at school, and the reason she didn't plan on following her mother to her American dream in the suburbs next month. Candace turned to Gwen, who was lagging behind. You better keep up, sis. You know we got beef with them GW bitches. Candace tried to look into Gwen's eyes, but she wouldn't give them up. She was doing her own thing mentally. You all right? She asked. Yeah, I was just thinking about something, Gwen answered softly. I'm supposed to be at summer school right now, Candace proceeded, trying to make small talk. Gwen chuckled lightly and finally looked at her. Yeah, I'm supposed to be on a bus going to camp right now. Their trek to Stanley Isaac Projects finally came to a head. The girls got to 93rd Street and abruptly cut through the traffic to get across First Avenue. Sister! A Jessica sister, who Gwen never met before, flung open the front door to building 1493 with a reckless shove. She greeted each sister individually with crew love and introduced herself as Bladder, a 6-round true blue, 2 ranks above Thais and 1 above Gwen and Candace. The girls had a silent understanding that they were probably going to have to comp the bigger sister somehow. Where y'all going? Bladder asked Candace. My nigga Bar Kim crib in 1349. Aight, I'ma roll with y'all. You ain't know the sisters was getting together up there? Gwen asked speculatively. Nah, I've been out of the mix lately, but come on, let's go. Bladder was as animated as a sister as Gwen had ever met. She couldn't keep still, and she walked like she had something to prove. All she did was talk about fights that she almost got into on her way to Bar Kim's house. The girls got to the elevator and Candace pressed the 8th floor. Gwen popped the gum in her mouth, leaned against the wall, and watched Bladder pace to and fro, rapping to herself. Out of nowhere, the pumped-up sister fired a fist into the hollow elevator wall. The force shook the elevator car momentarily, threatening to get stuck. Yo, homegirl, what's your problem? Gwen asked. What you mean, what's my problem? You got a problem? Bladder challenged. Hey, yo, go ahead with all that. Walls don't hit back, but I got something for that ass, Gwen said as she stepped into Bladder's face, meeting her with equal aggression and readiness. A word you set tripping on a superior now? The elevator door opened. Candace called out to Justin, who was shooting dice in the terrace straight ahead. Just come get your girl. She about to transform into little E out here. Nah, fuck that. I just asked a simple ass question and you jumped in my motherfucking face like you about to do something. So pop off. Gwinn crunched her soft yet menacing hands into a mighty fist of rage. Pop off, she said again. What happened? Chill, chill, Justin said as he wrapped the arm around Gwinn and pulled off the elevator. Who that you beefing with? He asked in his ever mellow voice. Some fucking bird. I'm a finna smack if she come out of pocket again, Gwinn said. Justin laughed before taking a sip from his beer and pulling Gwinn to the terrace. Yo, this my girl right here, son. She bad, ain't she? And my nigga, she younger than me. Justin was drunk and high. Gwinn could tell by how he was stumbling clumsy and speaking recklessly. How old are you? One of the fellas asked. Gwinn readjusted her stance, fluffed the bun in her hair, and popped the gum in her mouth. 13. Damn. But I'm gonna be 14 in October, so she added as if it made a world of difference. Justin took his arm back. He picked up the multicolored dice resting atop the flipped over box and began shaking them. That's why I need to get my money back from you, nigga, so I could take my shorty out this weekend. He looked at Gwinn and pointed to Barkem. Baby, he cracked me for 200 earlier. Barkem pulled out a wad of crumbled bills and began manicuring them. What's up then? I'm down to take some more of your money. Baby, go inside. They watching DVDs and shit. I'm about to get my money back. I'll be in here soon. Gwen walked around and nobody's gathered in the hallway in apartment 8F. We got the ball. This is Bird Gang money. Jim Jones was blasting from Barkem's desktop computer. Porsche was sitting in the living room with Terrence, Chris, and Tor Douglas and Twin, Jamila's sister. They were looking into the screen of a portable DVD player on the table. This nigga be having straight dimes on here. Yo, look how fat her ass is. Adrian, Terrence's boyfriend, who normally didn't hang out with them, was sitting quietly through the ruckus, watching television with no sound. You all right? Gwinn asked as she popped open a wine cooler and sat down next to him on the couch. Yeah, I'm okay. What you thinking about? I made that bitch say auntie. Ariana, startled from the yelling, spilled some of a cup of soda in her lap. Gwinn turned to where the shouting was coming from. Bladder came busting out of the back room with a swarm of blued up Jessica sisters. Had her like, Yo, what's wrong with that bitch? Gwinn asked low enough that only Ariana could hear her. Sister. Gina from 119th recognized Gwinn as they got to the living room. Monica from the Johnson set and Sade walked up to Gwinn and dapped her up. Yo, you know her? Gwinn asked Monica as she motioned to Bladder, who was reenacting a fight she'd been in. Nah, I just met her. She bugged out, though, Monica said around her laughing. Bitch, give me one of those fucking gums, Bladder said as she snatched a pack of gum that Ariana pulled from her pocketbook, frightening her yet again to a standstill. See something wrong with that bitch. Bladder heard Gwen's sentiment and approached her yet a second time. Yo, you been trying to come at me sideways. Gwen cocked and popped her fist right into Bladder's big mouth, knocking off balance. She lunged her entire body into her ex-sister's stomach and pummeled her into the floor. She mounted her and began wailing at either side of her head relentlessly until Monica and Gina finally dragged her off. Bitch! 1 week later. Gwen leaned over the railing in front of the building and began visually sweeping through the streets to see what was out there. She saw drunk Chauncey talking to and falling over himself as he entered the projects via the parking lot on 112th Street. Through his lightly tinted windows, Gwen could tell that Lamar was sitting in his car with the passenger smoking. She looked along, giving no intimation that she saw them. Freddie Mac was talking to Laliqua in front of 1695 across the street. Gwen's instincts suggested that the silver Volvo at the end of the parking lot was a detective's car. When Gwen spotted the car, she casually walked in the building and keyed up Diana on her cell phone push to talk. As she hurried to catch the elevator before it shut, she snuck in a groove between three bodies, turned her head, and asked the man to press the 14th floor. Diana hadn't responded yet. Gwyn pulled a bandana from her back pocket and wiped her forehead with it. She saw her friend Samantha's grandmother through the corner of her eye. "Miss Ruiz, you need help with those bags?" she asked. "No, baby, these few little bags ain't troubling me much. I sure do appreciate it, though." "Yo," Diana finally responded to Gwyn's alert, coming through on the speaker. Gwyn waited until the last person was off the elevator before she picked up the conversation. "Yo, I think the boys are sitting in the parking lot." "Oh, word? What it look like?" "I can't really call it, but they've been sitting out there for a minute. It looked like two DTs, a male and a female, in a silver Volvo." "All right, shut everything down for now. Let me see what's up." Gwen flipped her cell phone closed and pushed the elevator door open. She knocked on the first floor on the left-hand side of the hallway of the 14th floor. "Who that?" a dark, raspy voice demanded from the other side of the door. "Blue's hot. Shut it down," Gwen said as she made moves. She opened the terrace door and looked down the 14 flights at the silver car in front. Her vision was limited from the distance, but she could tell that the car was vacant, which meant the officers were probably in the building. She made her way to the A staircase and darted downward, designed to get in the house and off the radar. Gwen didn't know the ins and outs of her sister's stronghold on the cigarette and angel dust dippers trade, but she put in enough work as a lookout to get wet if it should happen to rain. She made her way past the 11th floor and began to slow down as she heard people speaking a few flights below. She began to creep. She considered switching to the B staircase, but her curiosity propelled her. "And that's all there?" "Yeah. Start breaking that into a liquid budget so we can make whatever moves we gotta make. That 50,000 what I'm gonna use to buy the land. That's peace. That's definitely peace." Gwen turned the corner of the staircase wall that divided her from the conversation and was caught immediately in her father's eyes, as well as that of the former Jessica Grant superior, LaRonda. She waved her hand as she tried to find some comfortable spot for her eyes. "Hi," she said. "Hey, beautiful." Jason turned and grinned at his baby. LaRonda smiled as well, standing in front of Jason, who was sitting on a newspaper on top of the bottom step. "How you doing, little G?" she asked, smiling brightly. Gwen scampered past him, uncomfortable and looking to converse no further. "You want to get something to eat?" Jason asked. "No," Gwen said as she ran away. 3 days later. "Mommy, I'm leaving," Gwen yelled from the kitchen as she finished the last of her fruit punch and placed the cup in the sink. Bernadette appeared from the hallway, half awake. "I'm sorry I can't go with y'all. I'm just going to stay in my bed and chill out today," she said. Gwen could already tell what her mother's plans for the day was. She heard Rodney come in late last night, and Bernadette was in her silk robe, which she never wore unless Rodney was there. "Hold on, Gwen," Rodney yelled from the master bedroom. He came out with a bare chest and glowing. He pulled out his wallet and handed her a $10 bill. "Thanks, Rodney." Gwen pressed for the elevator, then flew into the staircase to change out her white t-shirt and into her sky blue BCBG halter top, and from her brown flip-flops into her white leather slides. She added the $10 that Rodney gave her to a wad of over 400 and went downstairs to board the Dorney Park-bound charter bus. 9:26 a.m. the same day. Tupac, 50 Cent. Big. It's big. Like, I hate having this conversation with people because it's big. He's the best rapper ever. Like, stop talking about it. Biggie Smalls is the fucking illest. Hey, watch your mouths back there. Sorry, Miss Jameson. Troy apologized, then just as quickly went back to making his point. The Taft Project kids and a few adults spent the entire day at Dorney Park in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Gwyn didn't bother with much playing games. She was too busy being cute and trying to escape here and there with Justin. The sun was beginning to set. Gwyn laid her head back and partook in the fireworks and a light breeze coming off the lake. Justin's head was laid across her lap. He was so relaxed that Gwyn wasn't sure if he was still awake. She continued to graze his waves and his hair with the tips of her fingers. She knew they had to be on the bus soon, and she tried to check the time on her cell phone without disturbing him. When the phone exploded in her hand, I don't know what you take me for. I really don't play that shit. Gwen's ringtone woke Justin and pissed her off. She knew that particular ringtone was reserved for the not so important people. I ain't got to get you hit. I get out myself and spray this shit. Hello? She answered as if she were on the verge of cursing someone out. No, I'm not on the block. Don't call me no more tonight. She disconnected the call and placed her soothing hand on the side of Justin's head and pushed him back on her lap. Who was that? Justin asked. Stinking Alizé or her bullshit. Justin chuckled and relaxed. Gwen kicked her feet out and scooted down into a declined position. Her and Justin were both on the verge of falling asleep when a voice from the hood hollered through the loudspeaker on her nextel. Yo, Lil G, where you at? Oh my God. Justin sat up again. Come on, baby. We got to get back on the bus soon anyway. 6 days later. So you prepared for this, right? You got him beat? Gwen asked. Junior laughed at his baby sister, who was scrolling through a display of blouses on the second floor of Bloomingdale's. Of course. I ain't come this far to lose to no old timer. Big brother, can we hit up Macy's on 34th Street too? He looked into his diamond-infused watch dial. I don't know, Gwyn. I may slide you a few dollars and let you roll up there yourself. Traffic gonna be crazy by the time we get out of here. Yeah, but anyway, I think something wrong with him. He called himself trying to come around and talk to me now. I'm like, please, too little, too late. What you mean he be coming around? Junior asked. Gwen pulled out a $350 Gucci blouse and held it across her chest. He be showing up out of the blue, trying to, I don't know. I don't know what he want. He gave me $30 the other day and told me God loves me. Junior's face became hostile. Don't take no money from that nigga. Don't take shit from him. We good now. We don't need him. 6:01 p.m. the same day. When Gwen got out of her brother's combed out SUV in front of the building, she was smacked with the reality of East Harlem. She told her big brown Bloomies bag in sheer arrogance as she click-clacked her way up the walkway in her Via Spiga short heels, seeking to keep the filth away from her. Yo, Lil G, bleep Shantae for me? Gwen didn't even look at Sabrina. She just held up her bags and kept walking, not looking to have her mood spoiled. As you can see, my hands are a little preoccupied. And bitch, you don't call me Lil G. I'm bigger than you. Fuck that. Oh my God, I'm about to kill this bitch. Please call Shantae for me, G. Gwen removed her leopard print shades and looked into Sabrina's eyes. What happened? Is beef? Yo, this bitch Donna and that bitch Jasmine is in the back of the building right now. What? Box cutter Keisha walked up to them in front of building 1694. We gonna get their asses. They ain't going nowhere. I made them bitches feel comfortable. She pulled a blue rag from her black pocket and swiftly snuck her orange box cutter therein. I'm putting one of them bitches in the hospital, she said. Gwen saw Amanda's car pull on Madison Avenue. Across the street, she could see Shantae walking up Park Avenue from Johnson Projects. Yo, let me drop my bags upstairs real quick. Y'all don't move on them without me. Not wanting to engage in small talk with her mother and or risk the possibility of not being able to go back outside, she left her bags with the set lookout posted on the 11th floor terrace. When Gwen got back downstairs, none of her sisters were where she left them. Amanda's Honda was peeling off. Money-making Monica was hanging out of the passenger side of a window laughing and waving her sky blue flags in the wind. Sisters was hopping over barricades and scattering through the projects. Gwen made her way up the walkway towards the back of the building. She could see Dana and Jasmine. Dana was beaten to a pulp. No movement. Jasmine was pulling herself up to her feet, holding the side of her torso. Gwen spun around and went back upstairs. After the sunset, Gwen went back downstairs to get a can of soda and snack for her lunch tomorrow. She changed into a yellow and blue polo t-shirt that matched her nails, antique boutique jeans, and she capped off her evening attire with a Yankee fitted hat. Aisha and Amanda were in the building lobby with Kenneth and Trevor, the 25 and older crowd. They were drinking bottles of rosé and talking at the top of their voices over the radio, which was blasting Wendy Williams' Hot 93.3 interview with Tech. I mean, first of all, I want to say that this is a completely ridiculous situation. I wish it ain't have to come to this, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna have to air the boy out. What up, Lil G? Trevor asked when he seen Gwinn get off the elevator. What's up, Trev? You hear your pops on the radio? He talking about the battle. That nigga Tech ain't no joke. Okay, so tell us a little bit about how you guys ended up clashing to the point where you got to take it out on each other in front of the whole tri-state area at this year's Summer Jam. Nah, he be coming at me sideways through the media and mutual friends and family saying this and that. Everybody got their limits, Wendy. Right, right. No, I feel you. So 50,000 on the line, winner takes all. I know you're excited. 50,000, you can get a whole lot of pounds of weed with 50,000. Tech and Wendy both laughed over the airways. Ah, ladies and gentlemen, Architect is here giving me the finger right now, Wendy Williams said. Amanda was all over Trevor, who was trying to converse with Gwinn, as he'd been a family friend for many years. Your brother gonna do his thing, though, he said. Yeah, but he can't go with Tech, though, Kenneth said as he placed his cell phone back in his holster. It's gonna be a good battle. Leave it at that. Get the fuck out of here. With 50,000 on the line, Tech gonna spank that boy. Kenneth chuckled to himself. Daddy gonna give Lil Junior a spanking, he said before going into an all-out laugh. I'm God! All eyes in the lobby turned suddenly to Chauncey, who jumped on a car in the parking lot out front and shouted to the top of his voice, I am God! This nigga done lost his mind. Aisha pushed open the front door, and the crowd in the lobby crept out to witness Chauncey make a complete fool out of himself on an angel dust trip. Repent your sins, motherfuckers! Dun, 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 dun. I am God! His fat ass found some money last night. He bought 4 dippers off Candace. Gwinn looked off to her right for some odd reason and saw a familiar silhouette entering the parking lot. Is that my sister? She asked no one in particular. Which one? Amanda asked as she overheard and was now looking in the same direction as Gwinn. No, I mean my sister. Gwinn excused herself and jogged down the few steps in front of the building and through the parking lot entrance past Chauncey. Come to your master, Chauncey said as Gwinn walked past them, ignoring the laughter of everyone who gathered out front. Honey! Hollis extended her arms and a hug before Gwinn could reach her. Hey, sister. They embraced under the street light in the parking lot. Hollis looked her sister over. What's up with my little fly girl? Nothing. I'm about to go to the store. Come on, I'll walk with you. Where you coming from? Gwinn asked. Reggie's house, she answered as she double took Chauncey's antics. Hey, when the next time you gonna come spend some time with me? You need to get away from here more often. Gwinn smiled like an innocent child. I'll come up there anytime. I love chilling at your place. I just don't want to crowd you with your business and everything. Nah, you're welcome, sis. You're always welcome. Business been at damn near standstill anyway, Hollis said. They walked into the bodega on 111th. Gwinn gave Poncho, the store owner, a 5 and walked to the refrigerators in the back. You should give me a few of your shirts. I can get business popping for you. If they see me in your stuff, I guarantee you they gonna want it. Gwinn placed a box of Crunch and Munch and 2 20-ounce bottles of Hawaiian Punch on the counter. You know they calling me the Black Kate Moss out here. Hollis laughed, but she already began seriously considering. All right, we gonna work something out. So what you think about this whole rap battle thing between Pops and 3? Honey's face scrawled up. Honestly, I think it could get ugly. I don't know. As long as Junior stays strong, he'll be all right, though. He could at least hold his own head. Hold his head? Gwinn looked at her sister. You think your father's gonna win? Oh, Well, you think J3 is gonna win? They exchanged identical looks of confusion, each staring at each other as if they had lost their mind. He's gonna win, Gwinn fired. Unit 4, Chapter 2. Make sure your father don't walk out of these projects with $50,000 worth of weed. Stump. Date, July 22nd, 2008. How was camp today? There was something in her mother's eyes that suggested that Gwyn should have been honest about it. Gwyn removed the key from her front door and glided it shut. She knew her mother wouldn't have been waiting near the door and slamming her with questions as soon as she got in for nothing, but she decided to push the envelope anyway. It was good. Wheat, without the slightest hesitation, Bernadette slapped the taste out of Gwyn's mouth. Get your ass in the room. She followed behind Gwyn, who was nursing the side of her stunned, stinging face. Gonna sit up here and lie straight to my damn face. 2 weeks they said that since you've been to camp. Get in there and don't come back out till I tell you so. In an instant, Gwyn's world seemed to have caved in. She knew a lie like this would yield at least a few weeks of punishment. She paced between the closet and window crying, her chest full of stress. Through the thin apartment walls, she could hear her mother ranting either on the telephone or to Rodney in the next room. That girl is completely out of control. I don't know what I'm gonna do with her. Gwyn was finally able to counter her hurt with anger, giving her the balance she needed to momentarily chill out. She flopped onto her bed, grabbing a book bag, and removed the outfit that she really wore today: a Marc Jacobs short sleeve button up and a pair of skin tight Evisu shorts. She folded a shirt and opened a closet to stash it in a large trash bag where she hid all her expensive clothes that she bought with her lookout pay. She could tell that the bag was gone as soon as she looked up to the top shelf. She reached around pointlessly before the realization set in that her mother discovered her secret stash. She quickly checked behind her bed to see if her secret shoebox of designer shades was still there. Gone as well. Gwen knew with so many offenses, she hadn't heard the last of her mother's wrath and fury for the night. She stood completely still, knowing that she'd be able to get some information on the situation by listening through the walls. She's going to be on punishment for at least the rest of the summer. And I'm about to go in there and tear her little ass up, too. The first thing she thought about was Justin, then the set, then Harlem. That was before some illogical reason had seized her. She grabbed the doorknob, then swung it open quickly, as she knew from experience that the door made a crackling sound if opened slowly. She carefully stepped across the threshold and tiptoed past her mother's closed room. Will you be able to watch her until I get off? A few feet later, Gwen was at the front door, where being discreet was no longer a concern. She unlocked both deadbolts and ran out of the house. 11:57 p.m., the same night. Gwen opened her eyes and painfully twisted her body around. She was quickly brought back to the reality of her circumstances when the shoe boxes beneath her began to tear, making enough noise to completely blow her cover. Her back, hips, and knees were sore. She wished terribly that she could be in a bed with a clean slate, just regular Gwen Sessoms, whose primary concern was finishing her homework and household chores. Gwen was trying to stretch her legs over an egg crate full of beauty supplies on the other side of the closet when everything supporting her suddenly gave way and collapsed. That's when she decided that she was done with this. She opened the closet door to find Candace getting out of bed, apparently to check on her. You okay? Candace whispered. Gwen stretched her aching limbs. Nah, I gotta go. You going home? No. By the look on her face, Candace could tell that Gwen wanted to say more, but even she hadn't figured out what her next move was. Where you going? Candace asked. I'll figure something out. You know me. She reached down to embrace Candace, and a part of her desired for Candace to beg her to stay. But Gwen built her reputation on strength and bullheadedness, all of which caused Candace to sit on the bed and look at her set sister with care and concern, but no attempt to stop her. Call me in the morning, she said. Thank you, sister. I appreciate what you tried to do for me. I'm serious, G. Call me. It wasn't until Gwyn got to Story Avenue that she discovered her cell phone battery was dead. She gathered up all the scattered bills in her pocket and stopped to count them out to $158. She checked the surroundings to make sure no one was watching her, and then she stuffed the knot of bills in her right sock. When she stood erect, she saw a tall black man in a red t-shirt round the corner, and her cool escaped her. She walked on and checked the man through the side of her eyes, ever ready to run and scream if need be. As he passed her, Gwyn gave it a few feet, then looked over her shoulders to ensure that he was still walking away from her. The man had turned as well, apparently to check out Gwyn's backside, which she didn't mind right now, as long as he kept walking. There was virtually no one outside. The Bronx was bleak and growing scarier by the minute. Normally, Gwyn would be looking at a 5 to 10 minute bus ride from Candace's apartment to the 6th train at Huts Point, but she knew at this hour of the night she'd probably make it there on foot well before the bus arrived. 15 minutes into her trek, Gwyn found herself under the cover of a highway overpass along the Bruckner Expressway. When she was absolutely sure no one was looking, she spoke unto the Lord. I know you got me, God. I know you're not going to let nothing happen to your girl. Nah, not me. The subway station was forlorn. It was pushing 1 in the morning. Gwyn couldn't stop thinking about all the trouble she was in and how every minute that passed was a strike against her. She didn't feel like being a rebel any longer. But she wasn't going home, at least for tonight. She knew she had a hefty punishment ahead of her. That was inevitable. The little freedom that she had remaining, she was going to exercise to allow herself to wake up in peace for tomorrow morning. That was important to her. Gwyn nodded in and out of consciousness as the 6th train coasted through the tunnels of the Bronx. There was only 2 other people in the train car. A big white girl who was wearing a t-shirt that read, I'm with stupid, and a Puerto Rican man who seemed to be just as tired as Gwyn was. As they pulled into 125th Street, Gwyn leaned forward on her seat with the intent of getting off the train. Then she second-guessed herself. 125th Street, transfer here for the 4 and 5. Next stop, 116th Street. Stand clear of the closing doors, please. Gwyn dashed up, through the double doors, and onto the platform. She walked up the stairs to the 4 train, where she rode to 163rd Street. When she got off, she walked as quickly as possible, 167th Street bound, although she did make a stop at the corner store on Sheridan Avenue. She bought a carrot cake and an apple juice, which she planned on waiting until she sat down to eat, but had fully devoured before she made her way to her sister's building. Gwyn didn't bother coming up with a story. Her night had been long and dramatic enough. She knocked on the door and wished with all that she had that Hollis was home. Where you been? Your mother's been looking for you everywhere, Hollis inquired before she fully opened the door. Gwyn could see her father stumble around a wall in a white tank top and basketball shorts. He walked up behind Hollis. Can I please stay here tonight? Gwyn hung her head and broke out in tears as she spoke. Come in here, sweetheart. Neither Hollis nor her father bothered asking any more questions, which was exactly what Gwyn needed for the night. Hollis gave Gwyn a washcloth and a towel and warmed her up a plate of food. Gwyn ate, then went into the bathroom to wash up. When she came out, Hollis called for her. Sis, come here for a sec. Gwyn walked up past her father, who was sitting at the kitchen table, to Hollis, who was sitting on the counter near the sink. You had enough to eat? She asked. Yes, thank you, Gwyn answered. There's plenty more in there if you want. I got some leftover Popeyes in there too, Jason added. Nah, I'm good, thank y'all. Okay, good. Go ahead and take my bed. I'm probably going to be up all night anyway. Gwyn awoke several times throughout the night due to the whispering coming from the kitchen. What you thought? He wasn't going to test you? Allah will test you every step of the way. Valleys and peaks. You gotta roll with the punches. If you can't do that, you ain't gonna never have nothing. Gwen planned on listening in long enough to grab the context of the conversation, but she drifted back to sleep with ease. A few minutes or hours later, she woke again to her father's deep voice as he continued to lecture Hollis. Shit, people gonna try to tell you all kinds of crazy shit about God, but nothing is worse than a lie invented against the Most High, because that lie throws the balance of all the other shit off. Allah is beyond all restrictions. He is the infinite. You can't even begin to grasp him. You just gotta take his signs, his laws, and go forth. When Gwen awoke the next morning, she saw Hollis sitting at the desk typing away on her laptop. Her dress was spoiled all over her head, and her long legs were folded onto themselves in a chair. Good morning, Gwen said. Hollis spun around in her chair. Good morning. How'd you sleep? She asked. Gwen looked around and didn't see her father anywhere. I actually slept really good. I talked to your mother last night. What she said? Gwen asked anxiously. I got her to calm down a bit. She just told me to make sure you go straight home when you leave here. Gwen slammed her head into the pillow, then looked out of the window at the humid city that she got further acquainted with last night. What you doing today? She asked Hollis. I got a few errands I gotta run here and there. Why? No reason. She got out of the bed and went into the bathroom. After a 20-minute shower, Gwen became somewhat disappointed after drying herself off and realizing that she had to put on the same dirty clothes from yesterday. She wrapped herself in a towel and opened the bathroom door. Sis, you got a shirt or something I could put on? Hollis pushed the chair away from her desk, then walked over to a large wooden chest next to her God library and popped it open. There you go. Pick out whatever you want. Gwen searched through the multitude of Honeywell t-shirts and jeans before picking out the best possible match to wear with her brown on brown Maury sneakers she had with her. She went back in the bathroom to put herself together. She stepped out looking like the fly girl she was, like she hadn't missed a beat, and she was proud of that. All right, sweetie, make sure you go straight home, please, Hollis said as she got up to lock the door behind Gwen. Hey, you want to come to church with me and Daddy tomorrow? She asked as she snatched her hair back into a ponytail to secure it with a rubber band. On the other side of the threshold, Gwen pretended to think about the proposal for a moment. No, thank you. I know I'm going to be on punishment anyway. I'm sure Bernadette wouldn't mind. It's church, Hollis said. Nah, that's okay. Hollis handed her a small manila envelope. All right, well, there's a set of keys I made for you. Come by whenever you want. Gwen entered the housing projects by cutting through Park Avenue, then up 112th and 13th Streets, a route she hardly ever used. She noticed the back door of 1695 open and dipped in, undetected by anyone who knew her. She took the elevator up to the 14th floor, then went onto the terrace to examine the hood. It was politics as usual on Madison Avenue. Moderate traffic, in and out of buildings, no police in sight, except for a few beat walkers and a few strolling down towards 110th Street. Just as she turned to walk off the terrace, Gwen saw her mother step into a building across the street. She was wearing a t-shirt and a pair of sweatpants that was hugging her hips. The guys in front of the building followed her with their eyes as she made her way to her car. Gwen figured she must be going to a new Saturday morning yoga class and was struck with the idea to buy some more free time. She waited until Bernadette's car was out of seeing distance, then went downstairs and across the street. Oh, Lil G, you in trouble? Tyrone, Annette's little brother, attempted to tease Gwen as she walked by him in front of the building. What you talking about, little boy? Your mother called my house looking for you like 3 times yesterday. Where you been? He asked in his light, raspy voice, which Gwen found cute on any other day except for today. Anyway, she waved him off, then walked into the building. What up, Lil G? Where you been? One of the girls in the building asked. Damn, everybody all up in my business. Excuse you. She pressed for the elevator. Bones and Trevor came bouncing out of the staircase with a fiend not too far behind. Hey, that's my little fly girl right there. What up, Trev? Oh, you got the Maury's on. Trevor asked as he scoped out Gwynn's sneakers. Check that out, Bones. Yeah, I see Shorty be crushing it with the gear. Where you get that shirt from? Oh, this right here? This is kind of exclusive out here. I don't know if y'all ready for this. Bones and Trevor checked out the design and tried to read the front. What that say? Honeywell Urban Outfitters? Who make that? It's a hot, black-owned company. Just go get you some of their stuff when you get a chance. Gwyn knew it would take her mother at least an hour to get in from yoga. She went upstairs and threw a pair of Raytheon pants her mother bought her from the Gap and a white J. Crew top into a backpack. Then she pulled out a metallic silver shirt that read Fendi across the front and a pair of crisp V2 jeans that her brother bought her. She grabbed a white polo sport flip-flops. Then she went to the bathroom to change. Before she left out, she slapped on a note on the kitchen counter. Going to church with Hollis tomorrow. I'll be back straight after service. 8:19 p.m. the same night. Shelby walked up to Sandy and cut in on her conversation with China. Let me get a cigarette, she said. Sandy snapped at a customer who obviously forgot what she was about. Who you talking to, bitch? Let me get some money. Gwen was on 106th Street with some older sisters from the Clinton projects. Sasha, Sandy, and China were third round sisters who liked to, as the sisters would say, turn it up. If the hood wasn't popping, one of them, usually China, took that personally and got on a mission to perk things up. Gwen planned on getting on the 6 train around 8 o'clock, but sisters came through with drinks and stories, and subsequently, Gwen set her new departure time to 8:30. Shelby pulled out some loose change and began counting it. I hate when motherfuckers do that, China said. Gonna come up to me knowing they won't get something, but don't have the money ready. She shrugged her shoulders at Gwen, who reciprocated. Matter of fact, here, take this and go about your business. China gave Shelby a cigarette from a pack that she pulled out her back pocket and then brushed her off. Yo, Sasha, let me hold your crackberry? Gwen said as she thought about Justin and all the news developed on 112th Street. I gotta get on my aim flow real quick. This one of them 8th floor cigarettes or one of them 19th floor cigarettes? Go ahead, Shelby. China waved off again. Fuck you think? Shelby lit up and took a drag as Gwen began texting frantically into Sasha's phone. China grabbed Sandy by the shirt, pointed to the customer she just served, and began laughing. Look, she said. Hey man, what the fuck you done gave me? Sandy began laughing before she was fully aware what she was laughing at. What happened? I gave her a dipper, China said. Shelby began walking questionably slow and was visibly disturbed and beside herself. China and Sandy cried out with laughter. Oh no, what y'all done gave me? 9:20 p.m. the same night. Gwen pressed her ears against the front door and heard music coming from inside. Although she was happy Hollis was home, her moment was short-lived at the possibility of her mother and sister speaking about her whereabouts for the entire day. Then Hollis would discover that she'd been used in her lie, which would probably jeopardize their relationship. She took a few moments to get a story together, then opened the door. And I'm saving all my love. Yes, I'm saving all my love. She wished terribly that he was only joking. No one could seriously sound that bad. He held out each arm with a strong balled fist as he prepared to blow off the final note of the Whitney Houston classic. For you. Gwen couldn't help it. She tried and tried, but she bust out laughing as she walked in past her father, who was sitting in front of Hollis's computer singing. He turned with what seemed like a mirror image of his youngest child's face and smiled. She didn't intend on smiling back and breaking any ice, but a grin was still settling from her laughter. Jason suddenly snatched the headphones off his head and turned to Gwyn. Yo, what you need extra money for? Huh? She asked as she flopped on the Hollis's bed and began emptying her pockets. Money, Jason said as he took a giant bite from the sandwich he had wrapped in a napkin. What do you need it for? He muffled. Gwen turned her sass and defensiveness back on. You need money to live. Food, clothes, everything. Why are you asking me that? Your mother called here about an hour ago looking for you. Gwen became visibly unnerved. She looked at him, demanding more information without saying it. I told her you went to Bible studies with Hollis. Bible studies, Daddy? She instinctively pounded her hand into the mattress. You couldn't think of nothing better than that? Look at what time it is. Your mom's want to see your little ass hooked to a bedpost right now. You reading the Bible is about the only thing she's trying to hear right now. Don't worry. Miss May from the 16th floor be having Saturday night Bible studies on Madison Avenue Baptist, so it's halfway believable. Gwen threw her head to the pillow behind her, then squeezed it to both sides of her head. What the fuck you got yourself caught up in out there? 10:40 a.m. the next day. Jesus is the answer. I said Jesus is the answer. The pastor let the hymn of the organ behind him speak to the congregation for a moment. Then he went back to it. Jesus, Jesus. Boy, they love them some Jesus in here, don't they? Jason said in a not so low voice as he looked on. What the hell your pastor doing with a silk shirt on anyway? Hollis tried to ignore him by turning her attention to Gwen. You okay, sweetie? Yes, she answered without the slightest thought, as if overcompensating for not being tuned in. What's going on here? I thought we were here to praise God. Jason smiled and facetiously shook his head. Gwen laughed, then covered her mouth as if she made some sort of mistake as Hollis looked at her. Y'all done paid admissions 3 times for a Jesus concert. Jason cracked himself up with laughter, carrying on. And they sending that collection plate around again. Oh, you believe you me. They sending that plate around again. Listen, I don't want to hear anything else out of you until the service over, okay? Hollis said, then turned and addressed Gwen exclusively as a bigger sister. And you cut it out. You gonna need Jesus when Bernadette get a hold of you later. Cool, Jason said. He remained silent for a brief moment before turning back to Hollis. Yo, let me ask you one more question. Hollis grabbed her sister by the arm, then escorted her to a new plot of seats. One pass of the collection plate, and 19 boring minutes later, the church was standing and singing again. Gwen was reluctant to get up this time. She was bored and had been ready to go home an hour ago. She noticed that her father didn't get up this time either, which helped her in the decision to sit down midway through the hysteria. 4:01 p.m. the next day. Gwen was fully stretched out on Justin's bed, trying badly to hold on to herself. Justin was grazing the side of her rapidly maturing figure and tenderly kissing the side of her neck. He forced the tips of his fingers beneath the opening of her shirt and abruptly squeezed one of her nipples. Ouch! Oh, my fault. He tried to bury his head back into obscurity, but Gwen pushed him off. What happened? He asked. That shit hurt. My bad. Let's try again, boo, he suggested. No, I gotta go home, she said as she stood to her feet and collected herself. I just got out of church too? 4:49 p.m. the same day. Gwen exhaled deeply, then stuck her key in the front door of her apartment. In many ways, she wished to see her mother as soon as she got in. Too much time had gone by, and she was ready to know what her fate was. Bernadette had plastic storage bins all over the house in preparation for her upcoming move. The wall unit in the living room was gone, the stereo, and just about everything that was previously in the hallway. Gwen crept into her room and closed the door. It wasn't too long afterwards that her mother came pushing in. I was going to pack your stuff up, but I'm scared I'm going to find a gun in here or something. She knew her mom's already looked through her stuff thoroughly anyway, and therefore she kept her mouth shut. Find you some plastic bands and get all of the winter clothes and things you don't need right now together. She pointed to the huge banner of 50 Cent, these posters and whatever else. All right, Gwinn said. You're going to stay with your Aunt Nyla until school begins next year, she said, then shut the door. Gwinn sighed in relief that her moms didn't seem too concerned with what happened over the past 2 days. She was especially relieved that she hadn't found out about all the extra hanging out she'd done this weekend. Bernadette bust the doors back open. Give me your cell phone. Gwinn hung her head, scared to look her mother in the eye as she slapped the phone in her hand. Girl, don't make me slap you upside your head. And no TV, no computer, no outside until, she said as she slammed the door. And take that trash out to the incinerator. August 11th, 2008, Summer Jam night. Gwinn spent the past 10 minutes looking for scotch tape to no avail. She finally opened one of the kitchen drawers and pulled out a black marker and duct tape instead. She ripped off a small piece of tape and saturated the back of it with black ink. Gwinn knew she was pushing it, but she didn't care much for playing it safe nowadays. She had an entire 3 weeks left on her punishment, which put her under until the beginning of the school year. So she figured, what the hell? She gave it at least an hour before Auntie Nyla would be back. But in case she was wrong, she had a backup plan. She pasted a plot of tape over the power light on the computer in the den and typed in www.onthebooksent.com into the address bar on the Internet Explorer. Welcome to the live webcast of this year's Summer Jam, live from the Meadowlands Arena in New Jersey. And yo, it's time for the main event. Y'all know it's time, right? Let me hear y'all make some noise. When Gwinn heard the roar of the crowd at the Meadowlands, her soul became jittered. She would have given a pair of designer frames to be in attendance. First coming to the stage out of Harlem, New York, mixtape legend and... The video feed began to freeze as Aunt Nyla's computer was nearing Gwinn in age. Over the momentary silence, Gwinn could hear the latch on the front door turn. She cut off the computer monitor, grabbed the first book she could reach, and flopped down on the love seat. Gwinn? Yes? I know you ain't in on that computer. Gwinn slammed the book into the cushion and then got up as if she decided enough was enough.
I've been waiting for a while now. I'm like, Nick, I just wanna wild out. Face to face, you ain't the place. I was on the ground while you doing state to state. This my faith and it feels so great. I'ma be a real nigga, some shit you ain't. You left the block and you still get love. I stayed in the scene like nicotine. So what you mean? That you the best. You wasn't my pops, man. I put it through your chest. Yes, I came up now. I'm the man. Off you take, I got a new plan, a new blueprint. To spank that ass and do it fast. You left quick fast in a hurry, fam. You ain't no fucking
Little
man.
nigga fall back, tech it on the track and party. You having an asthma attack. We rolling cars back to back to back to back. Front again to be your face I slap. Let my aces clap for the facts that don't matter. Rap to the bankroll fatter. Split your hat up, pad our stats up. What's that chatter? You just a motherfucking backup.
Don't get smacked up, clapped up with the ratchet. Trust, I know how to handle it. He talk the talk, walk the walk. Then you on the ground, I allow it chalk. Freeze, nigga, please. I sting like bumblebees. Yes, me, J3. Y'all cannot fuck with
You
me.
gonna shoot me? Nigga must be going high flying off that motherfucking D. Put your trust here with me. Feel you closing in, I'm lifting you and your boys off your feet. Call it toast to the heat. You ain't got it, rap bad niggas think you farted. RP, dearly departed. This your career, I'm putting you with the martyrs. For starters, your crew's harmless. Walking around with arms knowing they wouldn't harm shit. You already know the guard palm the fifth and sparking it in times of crucial conflict. So I go there, the nicest nigga in here. Give a fuck what you and your men's wear. Girls gonna stare. Put my head in a poom poom, let her twist my hair. Yeah.
Our Father, who art in heaven, architect shall not be the name. Thy day will come when I take the throne and make my house a happy home. Shalom. I break the code of the zone up to 2. Fuck you wanna do? Wanna talk shit like I'm in, so I'm gonna put you to place like diamonds around my neck. You a carpenter, not an architect. Ain't nothing you can do to me, especially if I'm reading your eulogy. Your eulogy ain't nothing you can do to me. Nigga freeze, nigga freeze, nigga freeze. Let's
Boy,
go.
you know where the crown at, and as a matter of fact, swing for the fence when we get the back. Might blaze a sack, but stay on point and tap. Mow the lawn so I can see the snakes and rats. And I hate the fact that y'all in plat. Now you thinking that you the king of rap. Oh, your face something like 50 slaps. Come here, boy, come on, sit in dad lap. Let me tell you a rap out way back when we stood on the corner to get our math. And we hit the studio on a late night only after we had extra cash. Now you're set on blast, your rap won't last. Soft as ass, breeze through niggas like I had an easy pass. You easily gas. Cuban mommy at the border with keys in the ass.